afternoon, traders. Hope you guys are all having a great afternoon so far. Another day of consolidation on the markets. Now, for now on, what I'm going to be going on over is going to be the Magnificent Seven, which is going to be Apple, Microsoft, NVIDIA, Meta, Amazon, Tesla, and Google. And I'm going to be using those tickers in order to generate high probability setups on SPY and QQQ. As I usually do, I'm going to do my post and pre-market review and just go over levels that I'm watching and what exactly do they mean. But without further ado, let's get into it. Also, if you guys appreciate this content, please like, subscribe, comments. Very appreciated. So the big level that I'm going to be watching on Apple is going to be this 189.78. If we end up breaking down 189.78, I would expect a move back down to 187.47 if we get a daily close below that 189.78. Now, from what it shows now, we got a indecision doji with above, I wouldn't say above average, but it's higher than usual. But the thing is with Apple is if we hold this level at 189.70, I would expect to push to 191.70. And then on Microsoft, what I'm going to be watching on Microsoft is going to be two main trades tomorrow. I'm going to be watching that 379.79 level. I think there's a lot of confluence around that level. Sellers are really stepping into the market whenever we hit that. Once we get a daily close above that, then you can start really pushing more highs, maybe even 385. Now, the trade I'm going to be watching tomorrow is going to be at, let's see, what was the closing price of this? 378.61. So I'm going to be watching that gap fill trade on 378.61. Those are always really nice high probability setups. On NVIDIA, what I'm going to be watching on NVIDIA is going to be that 482.41 gap fill trade. If we end up coming back down, I'm expecting a 476.34 bounce, but it looks like we end up holding that today. So I'd expect in the next coming days to watch 490.28 on NVIDIA. Meta, the big levels I'm going to be watching on Meta is going to be the 334.70 gap fill trade. If we end up creating a gap tomorrow in pre-market to market open, that'll be definitely a trade to watch. We end up projecting 341.89, so I'm expecting a move back down to 330.54 on Meta. Then on Amazon, what I'm looking for on Amazon is going to be a gap fill trade at 147.73. If we end up opening up above or below that level, that'll definitely be a valid trade. Now, we end up projecting that 149.26 level, so I'm expecting a move back down to 145.89. There seems to be a lot of weakness in Amazon at the moment in terms of in the short term. In the long term, I'm overall very bullish on Amazon. On Tesla, the big thing I'm going to be watching on Tesla is going to be that 236.08 gap fill. On Tesla, we end up holding that 231.96, 232 basically, support level, which was very critical for Tesla. If we broke below that, then 226 would fall fast. But I'm expecting a move back up to 243.14 if 232 ends up holding. And then on Google, what I'm going to be looking for is going to be a gap fill trade at 132.09 in the next coming days. I don't think this is going to happen tomorrow, obviously, but it's the market. You never know. But let me just mark out this 136.41 gap fill trade. That'll definitely be a level to watch. Let's mark that out quickly. There we go. So I'd watch at 136.41 gap fill. We end up projecting 137.42, so I'm expecting a move back down to 135 and 133.69. Google has been looking a little bit on the weak side. Sellers seem to be gaining a little bit more momentum, but only time we can tell. And then on SPY, what I'm going to be watching on SPY is going to be that 454.48 gap fill trade. We end up projecting 456.38 on what was that? That was on the 22nd. We reject 456.38. So I'm expecting to move back down to see if 453 ends up holding. But as I said in the beginning, I more use the big tickers in order to guide trades. So I'm just going to be playing whatever the price action tells me to do on SPY and QQQ. And then on QQQ, the level I'm going to be watching is going to be that 389.17 gap fill and that 388.33 support level. We end up holding it today, so I would not be shocked if we end up pushing back to 393. Now, the big thing to keep in mind is if we end up breaking 393, then you could definitely end up pushing upwards to 400. But if we end up breaking 388, then 383 will come fast. If 383 ends up breaking down, then I'll definitely chart more as we get closer to that. I just don't think that's likely. I'm giving that tech has been looking on the strong side, but that's what I'm expecting.